Welcome, adventurers from across time and space. 5 creators have been brought together from across the internet for one purpose and one purpose alone: to travel through time and have a good time doing it. When big changes happen to the timeline, the change attracts other time travelers like gravity. They won't be able to move past it until they fix whatever was messed up. So our heroes are stuck together, but only for the time being. Thank you all for joining us here at For the Time Being. This is the first ever episode of our podcast, and I am so excited that you chose to download this episode today. I am Ansel Burch, the Indecisionist, and I will be your game master, the dealer, for this very exciting project. I am thrilled to be presenting this to you, not only because it's an amazing story, not only because I'm so excited about the incredible creators that have come together to tell the story, but also because this is a game that I designed myself, and I hope that you love it. This game is full of opportunity and chances to make big choices and big impacts. Fate is literally in your hands with every flip of the card, and I hope that you can see that potential as you listen to this game played by these incredible players. If you would like to get a copy of this game yourself, you can find it at itch.io. I am at the Indecisionist there. And without too much more ado or any more gilding of the lily, I present to you the character creation process. This is going to be 4 parts, and this is part 1. We will deal our first 2 cards, and you'll hear all 4 players as they build their characters. Enjoy. Do you have a deck of cards?
I do. I'm holding them right here.
Do these need to be shuffled?
Yes. You will want
Jokers, yes or no?
Jokers, yes. First up is Ben Banks. Perfect. Okay. That's the prep you needed to do. And a marker, I guess. So, do you have an idea of the kind of character that you want to bring?
Yeah, I do. I was kind of thinking like a Dirty Harry, kind of like tough as nails.
Okay.
By the book. Not too far from retirement, too old for this shit, kind of kind of vibe.
How about you, Omar Burgos?
Oh, I want to be an anthropomorphic cat person from ancient Egypt, worshipped in his time, but then was buried, and then a time capsule kind of, or like a portal came that saved him from being, trapped. And he's very snarky, he was a pharaoh, so witty, yeah. and just as what you think a cat would be if they were personified as a human.
Yeah. So a cat.
Yeah, so just a cat. What
are you thinking, Stella Cheeks?
Do you know the comic character Adam Strange from DC? I do like the idea of being able to travel through time, but not being able to control it. But also always having a set place where I always return to, where I'm like, I'm back or whatever. Hey, how long's it been? And it sounds like there's nobody doing like spacey person, so I could do like
not yet
spacey person.
So spacey's very good. Yeah.
So maybe I'm maybe I could be an alien or something from a different planet, and then Earth is my Ran. So like I'm from. We can come up with whatever planet. We can make that up. But then I get pulled to Earth, and then I'm like forging a lifestyle there, but I don't know when I get pulled to Earth.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Space.
I like that a lot.
And then, you have to have a medieval person be like, what the fuck? And I'll be like, I'm an alien. Hello.
What is your deal? Yeah. Well, I've got a couple.
Yeah.
And last but not least, Sarah Moore, what are you thinking about for your character?
I think she's an actress. We had talked about the possibility of like having it be like a 30s, 40s equivalent, but that it is in a full Hollow Earth realm. Mm-hmm. Like in her place, you can go inside the Earth and like be an practitioner kind of a thing. And I think she was hired, if we can make this work, I think she was hired because she's a pretty face, but she also is like tough enough to survive in.
Do you think she's like the hot girl that they put in the Expedition movie to sell the Expedition?
I do think that.
I like this very much. The idea that they have, in order to pay for the Expedition, they've hired this hot chick who can also handle herself.
Yeah, I mean, I think she is often underestimated because people just see her as the hot chick, but like she also is literally foraging through the jungle for food and
like
stuff.
When people give Bear Grylls shit for like, oh yeah, he sleeps in a hotel sometimes. Yeah, well, also he also drinks his own piss and eats scorpions. Like,
right, because he has, well, but like when he has the opportunity, he's gonna be in a real bed. Yeah, exactly.
Me too, as it turns
out. Same.
I'm with him on that.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, that's a very cool inclination. So go ahead and start by lay one card out on the table face down, and then 4 cards, one at each corner. This is going to feel kind of like a tarot spread. We are about to turn over the most important card in your deck. Whatever this card is, it is going to be the most important card in your deck. This is your card. So go ahead and flip that over.
The 4 of Hearts.
4 of Hearts. Okay. This is... Man, I love it when they're low cards. This is your card. This card is the center of your character's being. There's something about this card that is core to who you are. Maybe it's the 4. Maybe you see yourself as being sort of a low value card or low value part of your cast. Maybe it's the heart, symbolizing that you are maybe part of a community that looks to a higher being or owes yourself to a higher cause, like maybe the Force or the law or justice. Those are all reasonable. This includes like warlocks, priests, clerics, paladins, all those sorts of folks. Anybody who's kind of looking to something above them for their calling. That's what hearts generally represent. But the important thing is that this is your card, so go ahead and mark that on your tracking sheet. Mechanically, whenever you draw this card out of the pack, you are going to succeed dramatically. This is your crit success.
Okay. 4 of Hearts. Yeah, I feel that, like, because as you were saying, to a higher power, I think like to justice, and then I think the lower number is like as he's gone through his career, he like kind of not focuses, but like believes in it less, just because he's seen it fail, he's seen it fall apart, he's seen, even if you got the bad guy, they had enough money to get out, they rearrange some things, and so I think that would be representing of the low number 4 of just like he was once beholden to justice, but he's seen it fail, it's hurt him, it's hurt others. And so he's kind of like, all right, like...
So it's the waning of that importance to you. I love it. That's cool. That's really cool. But I think when this card comes up in gameplay, that gives you the opportunity to have that be something that reminds you of justice or makes you think of justice, or maybe how justice has failed. Like maybe this is the reason that you succeed is because you're like, fuck it, justice has to be me right now.
Yeah.
Murk the guy or whatever. Yeah, I like that. That's got some legs.
The 2 of Diamonds.
2 of Diamonds. Okay, this is actually really cool. Diamonds generally represent the wealthy, merchants, artisans, people who take materials that have been crafted and then they refine that material into something that is more artistic. So, weavers, jewelers, tailors, those sorts of folk, as well as merchants and the upper class. That's the sort of general vibe we get from diamonds usually. Now, being a 2, maybe that's indicative of you being, a kitty cat, but it could also mean something about like where you stand in your social structure. So what do you think you get from a 2 of Diamonds? What does that say to you about your regent among cats?
I would say it's kind of like almost like a metaphor. My character would be very, I wouldn't say greedy, but just shiny things attract them, as cats are, and it's kind of like just like that cat's eye, that tiger's eye, kind of. His eyes are probably going to be maybe diamond shaped more than cat shaped, just to
Ooh.
show his love of jewels and gems. I mean, he was a pharaoh, so.
I like that. Yeah. Do you think the 2 tells you anything?
Perhaps there's another. He's one of 2 cats.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that, but I like it. That's cool. Do you have maybe a rival out there somewhere?
Mm-hmm. Like
or
another,
you did?
Or I did, because normally pharaohs don't get buried when they're alive. So perhaps another cat feline of mine wished to take the throne, and possibly pretended or made a way that may look like I was dead, so I can get mummified and all that. And when I kind of woke up, like Emotep style,
Yes.
I got portaled away. But yes, I do have a grudge against another feline.
3 of spades.
3 of spades. That is an amazing card to get for this. Generally speaking, when we look at spades, we think about those who fight. So we could be talking about warriors, gladiators, soldiers. We could also be talking about lawyers, politicians, people who like argue as a means of their daily life.
Okay.
So that's kind of a direction you could go with spades if you felt so minded. The other thing you might look at is that 3. You know, maybe that tells us something about like how high or low into that caste you began. You know, if we wanted to sort of read it off the standards, right? We could say, oh, well, yeah, you were born maybe into a military family, but not of great import. You could also go a lot of other directions with that. So, that being said, what does the 3 of spades say to you? Or do you need more? Because we can also look up cartomancy for it.
I think maybe... Okay, I don't know
there
how
are
this
no
would
bad
work
answers.
out. But, like... I think, like... her dad was really pretty high-ranking military.
Okay.
And so she grew up, I think she's an only child, and I think he probably wanted a boy. And I think so he taught her how to do all the things that he would have passed on to a military man in the family. And then she was like, but I like being pretty. And he was like, at least know how to shoot someone. And she was like, God, fine. Okay. So like, I think she like has that background, but she took it in almost like the Captain America route, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Where she's like she can be the face of stuff, and they don't let her fight because why would they?
Yeah.
3 of diamonds. That I think has a beer stain on it.
Ooh, that's auspicious. A what, 10-year-old beer stain?
Yeah, it's really gross.
Well, you're gonna mark on it, so I can only improve it. The general guidance for diamonds is to think of them as sort of the merchant and artisan class of any given society. So they're gonna take goods and refine them. They're not weaving, they're not blacksmithing, they're tailoring. They might also be merchants or traders. Generally, moneyed individuals are what we think of with the diamonds.
Okay.
Being a low value diamond might tell you something though, like where you fit within that level of your people. You can also go a different direction if you want with the 3 of diamonds.
My instinct right now of hearing that, and then also it being low value, and then thinking about the like mechanics of space, is maybe like I have like a wealthy family or whatever. But I, instead of doing what you said, you're like, it's the tailors instead of the blacksmiths. Maybe like I want to be more of like a tinkerer instead of what the
Oh,
opposite
you'd
was.
like to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
So I'm like, no, Mom, I want to do this, not that. I want to create little. I don't know what the word is. I want to tinker instead of do big. I don't know what the opposite of tinkering is, or the like more,
Well, I mean, like, I guess if you're thinking like clockwork rather than like making toys for children,
yeah,
like the level of complexity is different. If you just feel called to the simpler, more homely, you know,
or like I like
close
doing
to
it
the.
just to do it, and I don't want to sell it, type deal. I
Ooh,
like that
that's
more
cool too.
because like I should probably theoretically know how like my space suit or whatever the fuck works. We'll get there, I'm sure.
I don't think they're mutually
Right.
exclusive. You know, maybe you make balisets or you know, jewelry or something. That doesn't mean you don't know how your spaceship works,
Yeah.
or your spacesuit, or your helmet, or what your ray gun, or whatever.
or whatever. Yeah, I like the idea of like I have all of the skills that my family has, but I don't want to like sell or do anything. I'm just like, nah, I just like to take stuff apart.
Yeah, it's just fun.
I just like
Why
to
would
take
I
stuff
ruin
apart.
that? But we already have enough money, Mom.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a cool like center motivation to have given yourself off the bat.
Which also like gives like a curiosity too of like wherever we land in time, I can be like, ooh, want to play.
Yeah. I want to take stuff apart.
I just want to take stuff apart.
I also I like the idea that you might not fully understand the difference between like people and their machines at first.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I want to take apart. That is a guy.
Yeah, you cannot take that apart legally. I think that they weirdly go together. The like, I just want to take stuff apart / see how it works. Oh no, I'm in a problem. I have to see how it works and fix it. Makes sense to me. That's A to B to me.
We've marked that card. We've made an association. Let's continue onward. Now I want you to go to the top left card and flip that one over. This is going to reveal your nature. Now, your nature card, as well as the other 4 here in this next phase, these are all going to get the same mark, the background mark.
Yep, I see that. And the card that I got was the 5 of diamonds.
Oh, okay. Keeping it in the suit. Something about this tells us about the nature of your character, who you truly are at heart. When you lay aside the artifice of who you pretend to be in front of other people. So I think it's interesting that it's in the same suit. That's really cool. Maybe who you truly are isn't so distant from your outer artifice. I suppose we'll see when we get to your demeanor. But yeah, what do you think this tells us about your character?
Oh, my character basically is honest to a fault in the sense that what you see is what you get. He is a witty, snarky, very greedy, like maybe but I wouldn't say avarice, but yeah, he would be willing to bend the rules or kind of like twist things around in order to get what he wants. And he definitely shows that with his very proud demeanor, and he loves opulence. Everything is opulent, and he wants to be basically pampered as he deserves. So in the first, we saw that he had the his card. It was the 2 of diamonds, and then now you know that even deep down inside, he is a cat that likes shiny things and will do whatever he can to get it. Probably lacking in the morals, or I should say lacking empathy. And it could be something that he develops over time, that he learns. But deep down, yeah, he's not very empathic.
I like this very much. And this means that when you draw that card, maybe this is an encouragement from the deck to lean into that element of your character, that selfishness or that lack of empathy in that moment.
Okay, that is top left. That is Queen of Spades.
Queen Spades. Okay, so nice high value card. And spades generally represent those who fight or argue as either a matter of course or a matter of profession. So you think of like soldiers or guardsmen or lawyers or debaters or politicians, those who get into conflict more readily. Those who fight, if you wanted to put it in again, back into the medieval houses. And I like the idea that maybe that high value, because this is your nature, maybe that's something that is more important. If we're thinking of the 4 as something that's waning, maybe this queen is waxing for you.
Yeah. And I think you said like they're chill. I think when like push comes to shove, he really does still hold on to that justice and truth and doing the right thing, but he has kind of waned. But when the chips are down and like it's do or die, he is like, okay, there is a right and wrong thing to do. And I do need to fight for the weak and for the right side.
Yeah, and he's got that fight in him. Yeah, I think that's cool.
So now I have a Jack of Spades.
Ooh, okay. So this is your nature. This should tell you something about who you truly are at heart. When you lay aside the trappings of the world and the pretenses of expectation, you see yourself in this way. And I mean, kind of what you were talking about before.
It's a fucking hero.
Yeah, like fucking badass fighter. Yeah. You come take me on if you want. Yeah,
bring it.
You want to?
You're not as scary as the Yeti I saw last week. You're like, yeah, that's. I
think that's very cool. Yeah, I think that leans right into where you want it to be. Yes. So the backstory mark is the one you want to make, and that's going to be the mark we do on the next few.
Cool.
This will increase the face value of this card by 6, meaning that.
Whoa.
Yeah. So that Jack is now one of the highest cards in this game.
Cool.
That will be an unstoppable card when you come upon it, and it's all down to your.
I'll never find it again.
Fighting spirit.
Perfect.
All right, I got the 8 of Spades.
Okay. Again, feel free to reject this, but spades generally refers to people who are fighters or arguers by trade or habit. So we think of like gladiators, warriors, soldiers, lawyers, debaters, politicians, folks who get into conflict as a first instinct.
Okay. So that's my nature.
Yes. And again, feel free to I think that kind of flies in the face of your like better nature that you're talking about. This like person who just wants to take stuff apart and doesn't care about money.
Yeah.
So it might be worth looking for an alternate thought on that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an 8, so whatever it is, it's sort of like a slightly above average. Let me see. Is there a cartomancy for the 8 of Spades?
I mean, like debater.
Actually, yeah, that could be. What if you want to lean into the like local, either debater or politician? Maybe you're like a, somebody who maybe you're like an Atticus Finch style character.
That seems like too much pressure. But it is, I don't know, like.
Ooh, in cartomancy, the 8 of Spades is the card of sickness. I don't know what that means for you.
I don't know. That could be interesting. That could be like some incurable disease I have. Some space disease.
Disappointment, broken hearts, karmic debts, obligations, duty to self and others.
Duty to self and others, and like the debater thing. I think that goes in, not to totally like rip off DC or whatever, but that does kind of go into that like reluctant hero thing, right?
Nothing wrong with that.
I cannot control when I am pulled into somebody else's drama, which feels really relatable in my life right now. I cannot control when I'm being pulled into other people's drama, but I have to control how I react and how I participate. And I feel like probably in this world, like not this world like Earth, but like this world, capital
Mhm.
W.
In a world.
Yeah. Maybe being like, I could see somebody who is being flung throughout time against their will, being like very proactive once they land, like, all right, I gotta fix whatever this is so I can go back home or whatever. You know what I mean? Which also goes to the like, I like to take stuff apart thing. Like, okay, well, what's the fucking problem this time? I'll figure it out. So maybe it's more of just like, instead of like fighting, it's like a willingness to like jump into quote unquote battle, whatever that battle is.
Mhm. Which also, to lean into another character I know you have a great affinity for, that feels very Kirkian.
Yeah.
As well. The sort of like, well, guess I gotta outsmart this computer now.
Yeah. Like, I didn't put this dumb computer on my ship, but it is taking over my ship.
Your whole religion is based around a computer? How does this keep happening?
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I kind of like that interpretation.
Stella Cheeks is at Stella Cheeks on Instagram and Bluesky. Sarah Moore is at Pixies and Pins on all of the social media channels and at pixiesandpins.com. You can also check out her Sarah's Table live streams on Twitch at Pixies and Pins. Omar Burgos is at Tailweaver. Check out his work on the Tale of D20's TTRPG channel. More information at ataleofd20s.com. Ben Banks is at DJ_Blindian on Instagram and SoundCloud. I'm Ansel Burch, and you can find me at The Indecisionist on all of the meta properties and on Bluesky. Special thanks to Cameron Avesk Davis for the song you're hearing now and at the beginning of the podcast. This has been an Indecisionist production. Go to indecisionist.com to find more of our work, including my monthly gaming event, TTRPG Pickup Con, and my other time travel podcast, Time to Party. As you travel at 1 second per second, take some time out for these intrepid adventurers. They may be in trouble, but only for the time being.